there are certain things, before I introduce him, I just want to share because I know a bit about Vichar. So, not only sculpting, you have to learn how to handle your ego, which is the biggest roadblock in art, through Vichar. The way he can handle his ego is how he emerges as a top artist. This is for the students. That is a great thing to learn. It's not only about art, always. Okay? So I'll begin my introduction of B.N. Vichar. He's an art director with Technicolor Games, which is by Transperfect now. So he's an accomplished art director with a passion for sculpting and digital art. He's been on both sides, on the analog and digital, and equally efficiently on both sides. He began his journey as a traditional sculptor, working for the Maharaja of Mysore, before transitioning into the digital sculpting and animation for over the last 20 years. He holds a master's in sculpture from Chamarajendra Academy of Visual Arts of Mysore. And throughout his career, he has held diverse roles from art director to illustrator and has contributed to numerous creative projects across multiple platforms. He's currently serving, like I said, as an art director at Technicolor Games at Transperfect. Vichar has also been actively involved in industry initiatives, serving on executive committees such as ABAI and academic councils like Chitrakala Parishad. He has won about 23 national and international awards, including Shilp Shri Award. Now, what important is Shilp Shri Award? This is the first time it was given to somebody in the digital domain. So that transition cannot be possible without such an illustrious background. And he's a frequent speaker, of course. Every time we come across him sitting there, listening to him here. So in various events and workshops worldwide, it is not about this. Vacom, I think, uses your services more than we are able to use it. So his work has featured in various publications. He continues to inspire artists with his blend of tradition and digital. So he's been very supportive of anybody who's reached out ever to him. Many of you may have, and you understand what I mean. So it is over to Vichar. A Vichar worth learning from.
Give it up, everybody, for Mr. B.N. Vichar. Thank you, sir, for joining us. Thank you so much.
Thank you for warm welcome, and yeah, I'm really excited to be here and share a unique way of storytelling, because you all have gone through with animation and stuff like that, but you can tell story through sculpture also. So we all have learned history through sculptures, right? So I have taken that into a next level. So let me show you little tips and tricks how you can do it in sculpting, digital sculpting, as well as traditional sculpting. So first of all, welcome, and thank you for being here, and to make the waves very successful. One round of applause to everyone. So let me share a little bit journey where I come from so that you understand better. So I was born and brought up in the heritage city of Mysore. How many been to Mysore? Wow. That's good. So I was, when I very early age, so I used to get inspired, hearing stories about history, about architecture. I was very much moved from the culture over there. So I used to go to palace and see, great painters like Ravi Verma, Haldalkar. So I always used to get inspired. I used to always think, one day I need to paint like this. One day I want to be like that. See, that small spark with a very early age really helped me out to take my dreams and, give wings to my dreams. So that's where I got inspired. See, you need inspiration. You need to, learn back from the great masters. We always, what we do is we never goes to the grassroots. That is very important. I'm sure many of them don't know the, who led the path for us. So we always have to respect that. And I was very much moved from S.M. Pandit. How many of you know S.M. Pandit? Very few. See, that is the problem actually. We need to know our, torch bearers who led the path for us. So even though they are not in the digital format, but they had inspired many artists to come so far. So please, I would request everyone, go see their work, appreciate their work. So we need to spread, our seniors who have done a lot of work for that. So from there, I did my master's in Kava. It's called Chamarajendra Academy of Visual Arts. So I was, wanted to tell a story because we all have grown up, hearing stories from our, grandparents, friends. We are very good in telling stories. So I was very inspired from, this temple called, Beluru. How many of you seen Beluru? Yeah? So I was very much inspired from that because for me, animation was not new. I don't know how many of you think that we had animation from very long time. So these are like a flip book. If you see the Lata Patike, this is called Lata Patike. This is all our animation storyboards kind of a thing. When you go Pradakshana, it's all about animation. See, our sculptors had captured those frames. Wonderful, right? So we are relearning certain things. I was very moved with the way they were telling story. They were telling in a Drost effect. How many of you know what is Drost effect? No? Okay, a story inside a story. It's like it's a temple of Vishnu. Then the whole story is wrapped. Like when we introduce a person, we always tell a story around him, right? Hey, he is something like this, or that person has this kind of an habit. So we wrap around a story, right? So I was very much inspired from the Indian architecture, where they tell the story and how they use the animation into that. So if you see that, how many of you have seen Badami caves? Yeah, see how wonderfully the sculptor has captured the movement, like the Bruce Lee does the slow motion, right? The sculptor has tried to capture the, onion skin, what do we say, or the motion, right? So if you see that, he has captured all the, if you compare that, you will get 90 poses. When you compare with one right hand to different poses, you get 90 poses. See, imagination of the sculptor to capture the motion in this. So I was very much inspired from that. So how do I take it to my, storytelling? This is what, I was inspired from very early age. And this is my traditional sculpture. So it's based on Indian mythology. One is based on Ramayana and one is on Mahabharata. So you could see the whole story of Draupadi, the image on the corner. So I have wrapped around the whole Mahabharata story on top of her. So, when we say Draupadi or Mahabharata, we always remember the whole story, right? And she is the pivotal point and the whole story changes. So I wanted to depict that in one sculpture, capturing the entire story. So, it's very tough actually when you're telling a story in one sculpture. It's always, you have to be very careful what you're putting in, and it has to, give back the message also. And this is one is called desire for me. So, never follow, never go behind the desire. Sita wouldn't have gone for the golden deer, the whole story wouldn't have changed. So if you see closely, there is a, Lata Patike kind of a thing, story wrapped around the whole Maricha. So, the other side of the mountain is, always looks green, right? But when you go closer, you'll realize it. So that was the moral of that. So I wanted to capture the story in my sculpture. So that's how I started building story in my sculptures. So I was talking about Mysore Palace. So that's where what happened was when I was doing my master's, I got a call from the late Srikandatta Vadayar saying that, would you like to work for me? So it's a dream come true for an artist, right? As a sculptor. So I got an opportunity. See, why I'm telling, getting back to this point is, that small spark when I was very young, that I want to do my sculptures or painting in that, palace. That's where dream came true, and I got an opportunity to work for late Srikandatta Vadayar as a personal sculptor. So I did a couple of sculptures for him, and I wanted to, take my storytelling to the next level. So yes, I tried a different medium, different material. I got used to that, and I wanted to take storytelling to next level. So that's where I got, introduced to digital sculpting, like it was very fascinating for me. It's like I feel that it's called Aham Brahma, where you are giving life to the character. So that was really fascinating for me. My character will talk, my character will think. It's like demigod, right? So that really, made me so happy that, whoa, I can take my sculpt to the next level, because this clay which never dries. So in digital, the clay never dries. That really helped me to push my skills and storytelling to next level. I'm a self-taught artist. Digital sculpting I learned by myself, and it was really helpful for me, because I come from a traditional background where I had spent a lot of hours, mastering the foundation. So that's where it was very easy for me to, use this as a tool and to tell a story. So this is I'll give a little bit storytelling, and then I will go further and explain what are tips and tricks to use storytelling. This is called Hunting Dragon, where I was inspired from OTT, or if you're watching a serial, there is a movement and suddenly they'll put an ad and you'll be very curious what will happen next. I wanted to create that doubt on the spectator, whether this deer will be eaten or it will escape. So that moment, I want to capture that frozen moment. So I was trying to tell a story, or try to get that spectator hooked to the sculpture, or think about it later, like how cows eats and it'll chew later, right? So I wanted to get that kind of a thing in storytelling. So this is one more sculpt called karma. So how do you sculpt a karma, right? So that is something interesting, right? Karma is, when you think karma, it's like, how do you sculpt it? So I got inspired from Greek sculptures. They used to do a lot of sports person and everything. So I did a boomerang. What goes around and comes around. So be good, be humble, you will get back the same thing. As an artist, we should be humble, right? So that's what will come back to you. So that's what inspired for me, and that's how I think that we should be helpful for others, or else it will get back to you. So be humble, guys. If you're a student, that is very important. So this is called the balance of life. See, life is not easy, right? Life is very tough. It's like, balancing on a unicycle, it's even more tough. It goes in a different direction. You want to go in a different direction, the cycle moves in a different direction. If you master it, it's very easy to, balance your life. So I wanted to sculpt that. I want to tell this story and, create an image out of it. So that's how I started building story using digital sculpture. So I'm very, obsessed with forms and shape, like Michelangelo says, right? Already there is a sculpture inside a block, you need to unveil it. So for me, it's like other way around. In digital, it's about like a pottery, you need to bring it out. So that's what was very fascinating for me. So I started using storytelling in a thing. This is one of my favorite, this thing. I'm sure you all have played kabaddi, right? So I see it in a different way. In kabaddi, you have to stop someone reaching the goal, right? As an artist, we shouldn't stop someone. We shouldn't pull obstacle to success, it's called. We shouldn't pull someone to reach the success. We should be supporting the artist to reach the goal. So we need to develop that kind of a culture in our industry. So that is very important. So that's why, sports related to life. So you could see in a different way, right? Storytelling can be done in a different way. So this is a very abstract way of, sculpting. So this is one of my favorite piece called Balance of Love and Trust. It could be any relation, father, daughter, mother. It's any one miss the balance, the whole thing this thing, right? Imbalance, balancing on a trampoline. So I wanted to sculpt that. How do you sculpt those feelings? How do you, sculpt that balance? Right? So that's where I, sculpted this, and it's very important. And we need to, balance the relationship, irrespective of whatever it is. So I request everyone, so be mindful when you are balancing any relation. So it's very important. And this is called peace. So there's a two meaning in peace, right? It could be paper piece or it's a piece. So I wanted to use that word and create a sculpture. So this is Dalai Lama, where he's known for peace, and this is done in paper pieces, corrugated. It's a digital sculpture. So how do you get that? So I wanted to push the boundary in digital sculpting. So not just sculpting it out. How do you bring tactileness? Because as a sculptor, it's always the tactileness, texture, material. So for me, ZBrush was the go-to thing, and that's where I use ZBrush to the next level, and really helps me out to bring out my storytelling. And this is once again Marilyn Monroe. She was when she died, her news was all over the newspaper. So I wanted to create that as a sculpture. So this is once again ZBrush sculpt, and I've done like in paper masking. Like when I was in college, we used to do paper mask. So I wanted to bring that in digital. Why we cannot do that? And you can use the medium to tell the story in a different way. So I play a lot with the words, proverbs, and storytelling in a different way to capture in one image. It's very tough. Like you all are, I don't know how many of you have seen a lot of posters, film posters. Those days, we used to see the film poster and we used to guess what kind of a movie is that. It used to be condense of whole movie in a poster. It's very tough, right? So I got inspired from that. So I started using those languages in my sculpture. And I'm sure many of your parents here, when you take your son to haircut, you know the first experience. So I was inspired from Norman Rockwell. How many of you know Norman Rockwell? Oh, great. So I was inspired from his artwork. So I wanted to, use those kind of, illustration kind of a thing, that experience, that small, small experience to the next level. So this was my experience. I wanted to capture that. So the struggle, what it goes. And this is one of my closest sculpt. It's called ego. So how do you sculpt an ego, right? So I wanted to sculpt an ego. So how do I relate it? So it's like a kite, right? Ego is like you go higher and higher, the ego goes higher. So fly low, you'll be humble. So I wanted to capture that. That's why if you see, the kite has been cut and it's flying off. So don't get too high and be flying low, be humble, be grounded to earth. That's what message I wanted to give. So yeah. So let me go. These are the small, there are a lot of this thing which I want to cover up. How many of you know what is contrapposta? None? Okay. So this is very important when you are telling, sculpting, storytelling. Contrapposta is something which really makes sculpting to the next level. If you see, both are very beautiful sculptures. Okay. But if you see the corner one, if you see here, it has more life. It has a movement. It gives more lively to the sculpture. Right? When we, many of the students there, when you sculpt or think, T-pose never gives you life. When you give this contrapposta, about to move, about to take an action, that's what makes the sculpture believable. So these are some of the examples of what I have created. So this was inspired from the, 80s. There used to be calendars, what you used to get, Vivel calendars. So I was inspired from that. How do I get that Vivelness in sculpting? I've seen a lot of marble sculptures and I was totally inspired from that. So entire thing was sculpted in ZBrush. And this was, I don't know, it's looking dark here, but it was inspired from Haldalkar, Lady with the Lamp. I don't know how many of you have seen that painting. I was inspired from that. And I wanted to have my own, tadka and my own variation out of it. So that if you see closer by, it's everything has been hand sculpted in ZBrush. I don't take shortcut because I enjoy the process. I really feel every stroke and I enjoy the whole process of it. So this is once again pin-up. It looks good, but it is not that, there's no movement in that. There's no, feel to that because it's, as I was talking about contrapposta, that is important. There's no movement. It's good. Yes, it looks good, but it is not having life to it. How do we do that? So this is once again, I did Rocket Boy. So we all have played, we have seen kids playing it. I got inspired from that. So if you see in this, there is a contrapposta. There is about to action is happening, about to throw, about to move. So that makes a little more interesting, right? So these are all the small things when you are doing digital storytelling. It's very important. I'm sure you know this character. So I wanted to get that plaster of Paris feel to that, and get that movement into that. So So I was talking about, the movements, right? So when you have multiple twists, it's very important. It's taken from the online, which was available. I thought it's very illustrative. It's very easy to understand. So if you see, there is a movement in the hip, there is a movement in the thing. Many of you, if you are an animator, you know that. Like, you don't make a character stand like that. There will be a little rest. You'll, you have a C shape or curves. So that is why it looks, natural. So that's what ancient, and as well as great masters used to use in their sculptures. That's why it looks believable. And many of them, we don't use that. So I request you guys to, go see great master work, then you'll understand even more better. So once again, this is also what I was talking about, multiple twist. The entire thing is hand sculpt, the water droplet is hand sculpt, everything is hand sculpt. It's called Shower on a Summer Day. So once again, this is also Breville, where she's lost her beloved one, and the mourning is happening, and she's lost in her thought. How do you get a sculpt that you're lost in thought, right? So that's where I wanted to get that expression, the flat reaction on that. So spend a lot of time. If you see that there's a lot of twist into that, right? So what is spiral composition? Anyone know what is spiral composition? No? Okay, so as a sculptor, as an artist, as an animator, or for any genre in art, spiral composition is very important. When you have a spiraling composition, right, it creates the tension. It creates more life into the sculpture. So it hooks the spectator going round and round. So that is very important. As an artist, as a storyteller, you have to hook the spectator. So like, when you see and you take away eyes, then you are not hooking your spectator. How do you hook your spectator? How do you keep, hooked to your artwork? This is the technique what great masters used to use, and I use a lot of this technique in my sculpture when I'm telling storytelling. So if you see in spiral composition, it's get complicated. There's a lot of multiple twists. It's creating the tension, right? So these are the few example of great masters. If you see every angle, it's different, right? It makes you curiosity to see what is the other side. What is when you go there, it creates once again it hooks like a spiral. It creates that interest. What is the other side of it? So it makes you more interesting. Hooks to you will be hooked to your artwork. So this is the technique I use a lot, and I'm sure you all should observe a lot of great masters. It really helps you out. So once again, this is Bernini sculpture David. So if you see that there is a lot of movement, there is a lot of twist, there is a lot of like a coil winding, right? If you leave the spring, it will explode. That kind of a tension, it's been created in the sculpture. This is Giovanni Bolgano's, sculpture, and if you see here, in every angle, there's a lot of interesting. When you see from the back, you want to see the other side. So as a spectator, you are hooked to this. So this is very important when you are telling a story. And based on that, I did a lot of sculpture based on that. So if you see here, this is called Beauty and the Beast. I wanted to break the stereoscopic view of storytelling. When I say Beauty and the Beast, you all will think that the female is the beauty and the croc is the beast, but it's other way around. I wanted to give a message to the society. As a human, we all are butchering the animals and using the skin, right? We are the beast. Those are the beauty. So that was the message which I wanted to tell here. And this is once again where I was part of ZBrush beta, where they were integrating a new tool to the ZBrush. So it was a balancing act. So how do I tell that? How do I show that? So I was very much inspired from the ballet dance, Degas sculpture. I don't know how many of you know Degas. Okay, so I got inspired from that, so I used this of balancing act and in a very majestic way. And this is once again called silent music, where if you see that there's music, but art as illusion, you say, right? So it's there, but it's not there. So there's a music, but it's not there. When you watch in a silent, you feel the wind and everything. So I wanted to, Panchabhuta to use in my storytelling. So this is one exploration what I did. And this is, once again, I explored a lot of 3D printing because I was playing with a lot of new technology. So I wanted to do a 3D print, and this is Murat and Mustafa, where, a war between both of them. If you see, it's more like an inyan. So if you see from the top, it's more like a spiraling composition where eyes will go around and round. So always I used to treat like a traditional sculpting. So this is one of my closest sculpt called crossover. They always say, na, dar ke aage jeet hai. Even bigger animal like a tiger, it gets scared to cross the water. So we need to overcome our fear, and we need to cross over that, and nothing wrong in that. So I was inspired from that. So I created this sculpt. Okay, so before going that, let me show you a couple of my this thing. I think this is the first time I'm showing ZBrush for iPad. I think this is the first time in Waves we are showing this. I think this is a wonderful tool where I can take my sculpting anywhere and sculpt however I want. This is something very, very useful for me. And I was talking about spiral composition. So if you see, there is a lot of twists is happening. It's not one direction. If you see from the top angle, there is a lot of movement. There is a twist happening around. If I convert this into a real sculpture, so you would see a lot of motion happening in. So every detail, every lace has been hand sculpted. No alphas or anything like that. I don't use that. So I was inspired from Dancing Girl. I don't know how many of you have seen Indus Valley Dancing Girl. One girl standing like this, a small one. I was inspired from that, and I wanted to create, a dancing girl. After her dance, she's taking her own time and, me time. So I wanted to create that sculpture. I was inspired from that. So I was talking about this thing, right? The balance of life. If you see, nothing is straight. So it's always when you rotate around, you would see a lot of twists and turns, and it really helps me to learn a lot of anatomy, because anatomy is very important, keystone for telling a story in digital, because it's not going to be T-pose, it's going to be multiple direction. So your understanding of forms and shape, we always call in a sculpting language, we call it as Sharanga. So you have to be very strong with your foundation, the sixth foundation. This is one of my exploration where I wanted to capture, like I was talking about film story, right? So where I wanted to capture, the beloved is dead and the soul is transferring. Okay, if you see, let me render it out. So you would see the soul is leaving from the body. So everything is sculpted in ZBrush, no VFX or anything like that. So if you see, there's a lot of multiple twists which is happening. So it hooks the spectator for a very long time if I print it in real world. So I start with directly in the pose. I never do a T-pose. I start with like an digital, traditional sculpture, how we build an armature and then start applying the clay. I start in that way. So then once I'm happy with that, so I would, dynamic it. I won't go too detail in the process. I will just run through the thing because of interest of time. So once I am happy with that, there are a lot of, quick sub-tools, hands and legs. I don't spend sculpting those things. And then if you see here, this is the interesting process. It's like clay lob you put on the armature, right? That is how I create, actually. I create like taking basic geometry, spears and stuff, put it like a clay. I treat it like a clay, and I always work in pose. So for me, that gives me a joy. I don't take shortcut. I always work around, because every anatomy is different. Every sculpt is a unique thing. So I always try to, create from scratch. So then slowly I'll start building the forms and shapes, detailing it. So then once I'm happy with all the forms and shape, then I'll jump into, next level of it. So then I will smooth it up. then, start building the forms and shapes. So I always play with a tonal value. I don't know how many of you sculpt with tonal value. It's an entirely different subject, but tonal value is very important because you understand. That's why everyone says that drawing is very important. Many of them are students here. I would suggest drawing. Why do you have to do drawing? To understand the tonal value. So if you understand the tonal value, you could sculpt better. So that is why it's very important. So let me show the final sculpt. So every cloth or everything, if you see that there is a tonal value, like how we sculpt, right? Or how we do drawing, it's like that. So this is the process which I follow. These are a couple of my works or been published and got recognized, award and recognized, and because of my that spark really helped me of storytelling, because I wanted to use the storytelling in a different way. I wanted to take the legacy of telling story with a sculpture. So that helped me to reach different places and different people, connect people and know different stories. So that really helped me out. And this is a unique way of selling story using this software. So I hope you can see my further works. What I've showed is just a tip of it. You could see a lot of other example, or you could reach me out. And one more thing, I would I'll open for a Q&A. If anyone has a question, please feel free to ask. And there is something for the first time in the waves. I'll be showing it just after this Q&A.
Also, please, I would like to add, please be very brief about your questions. Just the question, your name and your question. That's it. Thank you.
No, sir, I don't use models. Because I used to spend a lot of time, understanding forms, gesture, and sitting in bus stand, doing sketching. That really helped me out. Yeah, I always call a concept called don't become a Google Drive person, be a mind drive person. So hello. Experience, that what makes a better sculptor.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Deepak.
Hello.
I would like you to also say something about the filmmaking on video camera.
Actually, the plan was, using GIF animation, like a stop motion, using a GIF animation and telling a story. That is a next level of using digital tools to tell a story. It was about that. So how do you, use the mobile to tell a story? So it was more on that. Unfortunately, it was a hands-on workshop, but due to the time, it's been cut short.
So we could write to you on your...
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
First of all, I want to ask that as a student, most of the people, when they start the sculpting, they don't go much into storytelling and go more into technical side of how to pose a character. So as I've seen your artwork, you just started directly with the pose. Yeah. Most of the sculpting students start with a T pose, and is just with the fear that they don't break the symmetry to make it a pose. So how to understand that to pose it in direct sculpting way and to save the time in that way.
Okay, thanks for the good question. As a student, you should learn alphabet first, then a sentence, and then a para. So this is what I'm showing is a lot of effort has gone. Don't see the tip of the iceberg. I've done that T pose and everything, but as a student, you have to do in a T pose to understand better. First learn A, B, C, D alphabets. Then once you get the grip of that, then make a sentence, then make a paragraph. When you know that from inside that you can do a paragraph, you can write a paragraph, that's where you need to try out this, anatomy skill. You need to apply your anatomy skill to the next level. That is very important.
Hi, I'm Hemant Hazare.
Hi.
I'm an ad film director, and mostly the product window is the part where I get stuck spending a lot of time on it. Is there a thumb rule? Is there a B, C kind of a formula to create a better product window? If I'm doing a product like an automobile, maybe a car, or maybe a juice brand,
yeah,
or maybe any other mobile phone.
Yeah. I think it's a very good question actually, because as I said, storytelling, the spiral composition, what I was talking about, how do you hook your spectator or the product? That is very important. Where nowadays it's a time of 2 seconds where you scroll up. that is where the creativity kicks in. That's what the great masters were experts with. If you see any product in in a gallery, you spend a lot of time. Why? Because it's done in such a way it hooks the a spectator for a very long time. That is what we need to use in our current tools or the way of storytelling. That is very important. It can be applied for any this thing, because what you see, when you see that the as I was talking about Navarasa, since you're talking that, I'll go a little bit. You need to play with a lot of Navarasa also. The Navarasa also plays a lot, and what kind of story you're telling, how you are using the light, what kind of message you are telling. When you blend with that Shadanga and Navarasa, blend of both, then you get a nice recipe, like a nice dessert, which makes the spectator to taste a lot. Yeah.
How do they build the patience? Because it's just a quick snap for them. Everything is just quick. And if you want to build this, you need a lot of patience. How do they build that patience? Any tips or tips on that?
Okay, it's a very good question. The patience is something which, if you like something, like example, when you go for a buffet or something, there's a lot of things in the menu, but you'll skip everything. Why I'm telling this is lunchtime, that's why I'm giving this example. So, so what happens is you will love to eat what you like. So that will make you, okay, let me go for second one for the same thing. That you need to understand what is that you like. You need to grow that inner creative plant. You need to nourish it and you need to water it to grow further. Then your interest will start growing up. Like example, you'll start following someone in Insta and you'll hold on for 2 minutes and see, right? That is something which is giving you that inner joy. That's what will help you out. If someone artwork is created in that way, automatically the spectator will get hooked. That's what I said. We need to have this fundamental and Navarasa and this techniques, because when you go to a gallery, you will spend a lot of time in that. So that is very important. Okay. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi, sir. I'm Drishya. I'm
Hi, Drishya.
from Film and Television Institute of India, and I'm pursuing art direction and production design.
Okay.
So we experiment on Blender and all the softwares like sculpting and everything. So we learned the traditional techniques also, and now it's coming with the virtual production, and now it is miniature plus VFX or sculpting plus VFX and everything. So we are little confused, like we are getting skilled with the traditional as well and the future as well. So as to the new generation, the cinema ahead, which is approaching us, and we are getting prepped with all the skill set we can do. Of course, creativity, imagine is all same. The approach is same, your observation, your experience is all same. But as a skill set thing, what would be your advice to the generation, like how we should manage, like blend with this too and everything?
See, storytelling is a very interesting thing, because what happens is, what medium you are using, the subject, it depends upon whether you are using digital or traditional. It's very important that whether my storytelling goes with this, digital or traditional. You need to think about that. What gives that hook with the spectator? It's not necessary that you have learned digital, you have to force it to digital. You could tell story in clay also. You could tell story in different mediums. We need to explore medium which supports the storytelling. That is what is important. Don't get hooked with the processes. Unleash yourself to tell the story in a very creative way. We always get hooked, get married with software, and we get attached with all these things, and we'll say that there is something missing. It's like when you miss salt in food. Food is good, but there is no taste in it. That's what will happen. Go ahead, try with different medium. There is a lot of opportunities because we have not untapped it. So we can tell a story with different medium. No one is stopping. End of the day is your core. What is that your message you are giving? That is important. Don't get stereoscopic, like I want to do it in animation. I've learned animation. I have to do it in animation. No one is asking that. End of the day, you're putting as a video, or end of the day, you're showing in different way. You could do an installation also. No one is stopping. So we are not exploring it. I think as a creative, we need to explore the different mediums to tell a story. That is important.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So,
Well, a big shout out to Mr. B and Vichar here.
Before going, I think I would like to thank, can we on the screen please? This wouldn't have possible, without our PM. This is a tribute to our PM. I have done a relief sculpt for the PM, and this has been used a new technology, and I have created a metal medallion. Whoever wants to come and see closer, you can come and see closer. This is a tribute for wonderful wave event. This is especially done for this, using the latest technology and using 3D printing from Frozen. So that is one of the tool which I've been using it. So whoever wants to see, come closer and see that. And I would like to thank our Honorable PM for creating this wonderful event. And this is a tribute for all of us and for the PM sir. For
that looks
having
wonderful.
this.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.